Officer finds abandoned baby inside a dump. 25 years later, he gets an unexpected call. We can never truly know what the next moment holds, whether we'll still be here, or if we'll have the chance to do the things we love once more. Some may not live to see the next sunrise, while others are fortunate enough to savor each passing moment. Have you ever wondered about the fleeting connections we make, like a stranger who passes by and offers a simple smile? If not, it's time to reflect and take action. Life is precious, and so are the people who cross your path and share in your journey. This is the story of Michael Bulna, a police officer who always did his job to the best of his ability, but one day he faced something he never expected. While on duty, he was patrolling one of the most secluded and dangerous areas in Santa Ana, California. The area was usually quiet, and officers often kept watch to ensure everything stayed peaceful. One night, however, things were far from calm. Normally, the back streets were quiet, with only a few homeless people and panhandlers. But on this night, Michael came across something truly disturbing. After nearly 10 years as an officer, he had never seen anything as horrific as what he witnessed that night. What did he see? This story takes place in 1989. Michael, normally assigned to another station, was on duty one night in Santa Ana, where a stabbing had recently occurred. He hoped the situation was under control, but that hope quickly faded. Michael stayed alert, watching the few people walking the empty streets late at night. Suddenly, a group of people appeared, waving at him nervously. They pointed to a nearby alley, shouting, "Look there, something's there." This immediately put Michael on high alert. He rushed toward the alley, unsure of what he was about to find. As he approached, the alley was eerily quiet, and Michael could hear his own footsteps. The wind blew, and cicadas chirped. Standing still, he heard faint sounds that startled him. What were they? The sounds were low and barely audible, faint, but to Michael, they seemed like a cat mewing or something similar. He followed the noise, tracing it to the very corner of the alley, where it led to a dumpster. When he found the source of the sound, he was petrified. As Michael reached the dumpster, the sounds became clearer. They were coming from inside the bin. All the while, the officer thought that the noises were from a cat or some other animal. However, they sounded more like a baby's cry, though the thought was too vague to fully form in his mind. He pushed aside the possibility and quickly peeked inside the bin, and what he saw shocked him. Michael immediately began removing the trash from the dumpster, and as the sounds grew stronger, he reached the bottom. What he found there made his head spin. He whispered to himself, "This is unbelievable. How can this be here?" The sight that left Michael breathless was a human baby abandoned in the dumpster. The faint sounds had indeed been the cries of a baby. The police officer could hardly believe that someone could do something so inhumane to a newborn, but there was something even more alarming. Michael hadn't yet fully processed the shock of finding the baby when he made another terrifying discovery. The baby had been dumped at the very bottom of the dumpster and was lying face down, almost choking. The little one was covered in blood and filth from the bin. But even more pressing, the baby wasn't just in need of air and care, he needed immediate medical help. The umbilical cord was still attached. Michael had to think quickly. Without wasting a second, he rushed to get medical assistance. Michael had never come across anything this horrific before. Despite being a police officer accustomed to tough situations, his heart went out to the baby. He couldn't bear to see the pain the baby was in. Though he called for an ambulance, he was so disturbed and in shock that he could barely speak to them about the situation. He refused to let the baby go with the doctors and left his duty to ride along in the ambulance to the hospital. The medical assistants in the ambulance were alarmed by the baby's condition. He was blue and shivering from the cold, a severe case of hypothermia. The chances of the baby surviving were slim. Would the little one lose his life before even experiencing it? The baby was rushed to intensive care. His umbilical cord was cut, and he was provided with oxygen and warmth to stabilize his body temperature. He was also given fluids and medication to help his recovery. Everyone prayed and hoped that the little child would survive, but no one could be sure given his condition. After almost 72 hours under constant observation, the baby's body temperature returned to normal. He began to breathe more steadily and respond to treatment. It was nothing short of a miracle. However, this was only the first battle the little one had to fight, and there were many more challenges ahead. What did fate have in store for this baby? One of the doctors informed Michael of the baby's recovery and mentioned that the baby was incredibly fortunate to have come across an officer like him. The baby had been born only a few hours before Michael found him in the dumpster. The doctor also suggested that they needed to give the baby a name. What happened next was quite beautiful. Michael held the baby in his arms, tears welling up in his eyes as he looked at him. The entire scene from that night flashed before his eyes. He was grateful that he had found the little one in time and saved his life. Michael decided to name the baby Adam. However, the beautiful moment only lasted for a few seconds before life resumed. The story didn't end there, but Michael had to return to his duties. He promised baby Adam that he would see him again someday. But when that would be, no one knew. Little did Michael know, this was just the beginning for baby Adam. Adam was handed over to the hospital authorities, and news of the police officer saving the life of a baby abandoned in a dumpster gained significant attention through local news channels. The story of a young baby, abandoned shortly after birth, took a hopeful turn when a police officer arrived just in time. And now, so many years later, the baby had the chance to thank him and learn even more about his own story. Here's ABC's John Donovan. The authorities had hoped to find Adam's mother, but nothing happened. Since neither his birth mother nor father came forward, they decided to offer him for adoption legally. After going through the process, a couple was lucky to adopt Adam. At that time, even they didn't know what the future held. Elizabeth Barton and Daniel Fernandez, a couple from California, had been looking to adopt a baby. When they heard about Adam, they couldn't wait to welcome him into their lives and complete their family. They adopted him and gave him a new name, Robin Barton. The Bartons knew how tough and terrible Robin's first few hours of life had been, and they never wanted him to face anything like that again. They showered him with all the love and care they could. They raised him the best they could, but as Robin grew up, he began asking difficult questions about his past. His adoptive parents had never told him about the terrible circumstances of his birth. They loved him as their own, but when Robin found his adoption papers, he started asking questions. The couple avoided the topic, but they could only hide the truth until Robin became an adult. For years, Robin wasn't told the truth, but as he grew older, his parents couldn't keep it from him any longer. They feared he wouldn't be able to handle the harsh reality and worried about his reaction. However, Robin's response was unexpected. Nervously, Elizabeth told him everything. She explained how he had been found in a dumpster by a police officer named Michael Bulna, and how, after surviving hypothermia, they adopted him. Robin was understandably taken aback. Despite his initial shock, Robin had something important to say. Though it was frightening to imagine the condition in which he had been found, Robin remained calm and expressed his gratitude to the Bartons for adopting him and giving him the life he was living. He also expressed a strong desire to reach out to Michael Bulna, the officer who had saved his life. But was that even possible? Robin learned that Michael had retired from the police force. Michael had served in Santa Ana for nearly 3 decades before retiring in his 50s. However, other police officers still in service provided Robin with Michael's contact details. Decades later, Michael received a call from Robin. He couldn't believe that the person on the other end of the line was the same child he had saved, now all grown up and expressing his gratitude. Finally, Michael and Robin met in person. They had no words for each other. They simply embraced. Robin had tears in his eyes. It was a heartfelt and emotional reunion made possible by the cop who had found him, named him Adam, and gave him a chance at life. Michael was thrilled to see Robin and shared that he, too, had been abandoned as a child. He knew what it felt like to grow up without parents, which is why, when he saw baby Robin that night, he knew the child deserved better. As the story of their reunion gained attention, something surprising happened. Robin's birth father, Marcos Meza, found out about him and reached out. They met, but although Robin hoped this would also lead to finding his birth mother, it never happened. It was discovered that Robin's birth mother, Sabrina Diaz, had been deported to Mexico in the 1990s, shortly after abandoning him. When Robin learned this, he didn't hold any grudges. He believed she didn't want him to live a life behind bars. "I'm not angry or upset with her, and I forgive her because she was a young woman," Robin said. Today, he is happy and content with his life and doesn't dwell on the hardships of his past. He is forever grateful to Michael for saving his life and to the Bartons for the love and care they gave him. I hope you like this story. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.